Hello and welcome to another of my videos. This will be a short video, but it will address an important point that sometimes in the heat of the moment I forget to mention in class. Let me give you a quick example. So let's say that your revenue is $8,000 per month. And let's say that your variable cost, VC, is 5,000 and your fixed cost is also 5,000. So, pretty simple example, pretty simple numbers. Your economic profit equals negative $2,000. So, what should you do in equilibrium? What should you do eventually? Eventually, you should exit this industry as your economic profit is negative. The question, however, an interesting question is, what do you do in the short run? In the short run, you have two choices. You can shut your business down, or you can keep going. So, remember that this proportion of your cost is fixed. You cannot simply walk away from it. Imagine it's a lease contract on a building for 12 months, which means that you are liable for this for the entire duration, or some predetermined maintenance cost, or a lease agreement on an airplane, or it could be a number of things. But again, the cost is fixed. In the short term, you cannot ignore it. So, what are your choices? If you shut down immediately, your loss is equal to your fixed cost, $5,000. However, if you keep going, your loss is only $2,000. Therefore, the solution is actually to keep going. Now, I was thinking about this in the context of what's going on currently in New Zealand, in the context of wage subsidy and all the losses that businesses are experiencing through this lockdown. If you think about it, the biggest variable cost, at least in the medium term, would be the wages. So by covering your variable cost, it actually makes sense for a business to keep going, even though they are suffering through economic losses. So the point is, as long as we are covering our variable costs and at least some of the fixed costs, in the short term, it makes sense to continue. Look, I'll give you an example. I don't think I'll be divulging any private information. Our School of Economics and Finance, as a standalone unit, makes a profit. We bring in more revenue than we have in costs. Even though Massey University may or may not be in a surplus. Believe it or not, we are projected to make a surplus in 2021. Again, it's not, this information is in the public domain, so I'm not breaching any privacy here. But the point is, the larger organization may be experiencing economic losses. But when you look unit by unit, you need to look at the variable costs associated with that unit. And as long as variable costs are covered, it makes no sense to sort of mess with this unit. That's why I'm cautiously optimistic that my job is reasonably safe, because as a standalone unit, the School of Economics and Finance is making an positive economic profit, meaning that we are covering our variable costs. Now, let's say we have a scenario where let's say my revenue equals 4,000. My variable cost again is 5. And my fixed cost is also 5. Now, in this scenario, we have reached a shutdown point. Simply shutting down, boarding up your doors and trying to escape your creditors, actually, in this scenario, makes more sense than keep going. If you keep going, your economic loss is $6,000, but if you shut down immediately, you only lose 5. I mean, look, neither scenario is good, but it's not about maximizing profit. Here, it's about minimizing loss. So the long-term decision is easy. You simply look at your economic profit. Positive, keep going, or zero, keep going, negative, you exit. In the short term, however, what you're really comparing not the total numbers, but these two numbers. And as long as you are covering your variable cost, and at least some of here I'm covering 3 out of 5,000 in my fixed costs, then keep going. Here, my revenue is no longer sufficient to cover even my variable costs. It is logical and loss minimizing to shut down immediately. Thank you.